people, we're back in Portsmouth, and this week we've got Dr. Jodie Hughes of Endometriosis South Coast.
So, endometriosis is a condition where cells that are similar to those that line the womb grow outside of the womb. Been found on every single organ of the human body now. It causes pain, fatigue, heavy bleeding, bloating, loads and loads of really systemic conditions. Now, considering endometriosis affects 1 in 10 people assigned female at birth, statistically there's roughly around 13,000 people in Portsmouth alone that have endometriosis. Ultimately, I lost my career to the endometriosis. When you're a chef, you're expected to work 12, 15-hour shifts. You're constantly on your feet. There was times where I collapsed in the middle of the kitchen in puddles of blood. She sent me to a gynaecologist, and this gynaecologist was just a general gynaecologist. By that point, I'd been bleeding for 6 or 7 months straight. And she looked me dead in the eye and said, just have another baby and you'll be absolutely fine.
Okay, cool. So, Jodie.
Yeah.
Welcome to the What's Going On show.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome. I'm really looking forward to today. And, so... Cool, welcome to the What's Going On show, the show where we shine the light on people doing things in communities, and you yourself are leading the way for the Endometriosis South, and we're going to go a bit into that today, but before we do start, we've got a little tradition, and that is, instead of me giving you an introduction, I'd like to just give it straight over to you. Who in a nutshell is Jodie Hughes?
Jodie Hughes is founder of Endometriosis South Coast, lecturer, single mum, part of the community, loads and loads of little bits and bobs, I think, just amalgamate one 40-year-old me.
Bless. Okay, cool. So, let's go into it then. So, what do you do then?
Too much. Way too much, which if you ask most of the charity founders around Portsmouth and the South Coast, they will all tell you the same. Way too much. But the charity, we provide support and resources to people that are either going through diagnosis, have an inkling that they may have endometriosis or adenomyosis, have been through the diagnosis process and are left going, what do I do now? It's mainly support and resources and getting out there and spreading the word of what endometriosis and adenomyosis are. Okay,
so what is endometriosis and adenomyosis? Did I say that? I can't say
that. So endometriosis is a condition where cells that are similar to those that line the womb grow outside of the womb. Been found on every single organ of the human body now. And it causes pain, fatigue, heavy bleeding, bloating, loads and loads of really systemic conditions. Adenomyosis, there's been lots of talk in the past of adenomyosis being kind of a sister condition to endometriosis, but it's not. Completely different. Adenomyosis is actually where the lining of the womb grows into the musculature wall of the womb. There's different types. I won't go into them. It all gets very confusing. But it causes symptoms that can be really similar to endometriosis. So the heavy bleeding, the really, really painful periods, mood swings are a massive one with adenomyosis as well. A lot of people with adenomyosis also get misdiagnosed with fibroids as well, because it can show up very similar.
Okay. So that's a whistle sort of tour of what endometriosis and adenomyosis is.
There you go.
Right, cool. So let's take us back then. Now we're going to go into your story. Yeah. So where did you grow up?
Pompey. I'm a Pompey girl. Nice. I bounced about for a little while when I was really young, and then grew up for quite a while on the married patch for all the armed forces up at Hilsey, because my dad's Navy, and then moved to North End and stayed there pretty much for the whole of my childhood. It was only a few years ago that my mum and dad left that place. But yeah, bounced about all over Pompey.
Okay. So bouncing about Pompey. So, okay, so how was school for you then?
Awful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm late diagnosed ADHD. So when you look back on my life, you kind of realise why it was a bit of an awful time for me as a teenage girl. I went to City Girls, so I went to an all-girls school. I never quite fitted in. I was always a little bit overweight. I was very quiet. I was very shy. Anyone said anything to me, I'd just cry. There was lots of emotions, lots of feelings that happened in me that I didn't know how to deal with. Obviously now, looking back, I can go, well, that was why. But back then I didn't know how to deal with all of that. There was a point where I did try to take my own life as a teenager. Very glad I didn't. Very glad I'm here now. But yeah, it was a really, really tough time. A really tough time. I think it's a tough time for most teenagers. But yeah, when you've got them extra feelings of what the hell's going on with me? Why am I too emotional? Why am I always scared of everything? It adds that extra layer. And then starting my periods at 11 years old, and them being very heavy, very painful, that then adds another layer onto it of I can't even control my own body, like having to take a couple of days off a month ill, when none of my friends were having to do that, or none of the people I called friends. No one else was having to take time off for their periods. And we were always taught, the only sex ed we really had at school was, the only menstrual health education we had at school was the Tampax lady came in to see us. She handed out some samples of the tampons and the pads. And our teachers told us that this is also that you can have a baby. And then we were told not to have sex because we could have a baby now that we had periods, and that we had to do PE because that would make our periods better. And yeah, that all of that information to somebody that's one neurodivergent, two in so much pain they can't even stand up, and just not knowing what's going on in their body it's a lot, and it puts a lot of, I think, shame onto you, because you're like, well, I'm not dealing with this the way that I should be when everyone else can deal with it. Why can't I? Kind of situation. So yeah, it was tough as a teenager.
I mean, yeah. So nearly taking your own life, trying to figure out yourself. You said you thought they were your friends.
Yeah, I was kind of always on the outskirts of friendship groups. I knew lots of people, and I could always have a conversation with lots of people, but I never really had any proper friends at school. Not like I have now. There's a few very select people that like I ride or die. But yeah, I never had that at school. I never had anyone I could kind of rely on, really.
That's interesting. Okay, so I mean, you was at an all-time low from in that point, but where was your turning point to then be what you are today? You know,
There's been a couple. There's been a couple of points where I've kind of come into my own. When I started college was a massive turning point, because I kind of sort of said to myself, I was like, you are not going to be the same person that you have been at school. You're going to find your people. And I really did, because I went to catering college because I wasn't very academic at school. And cooking's always been in my blood. My dad's a chef. A couple of my aunties are chefs. My nan owned a fish and chip shop and used to make celebration cakes and stuff. So cooking is really, really in my blood. And it came easy to me. So I was like, I'm going to go to catering college and I'm just going to go and be a chef. I did always plan to be a chef in the Navy. It didn't pan out that way. I didn't want to join the Navy after I went to college. But yeah, I found my people because I was surrounded with blokes. And I got on so much better with the lads at college than I did with girls. I don't know. We were on the same wavelength. It's always really easy with blokes because they say it how it is. You don't have to figure out what they're saying and what they mean behind what they're saying. It's just they say it how it is, and it's really refreshing. It was really refreshing when I had come out of a situation where I was always trying to figure out what games were being played. So yeah, that was my first big turning point that got me a bit of ability to act as if I was confident. It did bring me a lot of confidence, but it showed me how I could behave in a confident way, which was really, really good. And I loved college. It was brilliant.
that's good.
Yes.
That is good. So did you go on to become a chef?
I did.
Okay.
I did, yes. I was cooking for a good 15 years. And I think I got to a point where I'd just had my son, so 26. I'd just had my son, and I came off all hormonal contraceptives, obviously, because I just had him, and all of my endometriosis symptoms came back so bad. In that time, I was still out there cooking and in chefing jobs and stuff like that, but ultimately, I lost my career to the endometriosis because I just couldn't do it anymore. When you're a chef, you're expected to work 12, 15-hour shifts. You're constantly on your feet. There was times where I collapsed in the middle of the kitchen in puddles of blood. And at that point, you're literally being stepped over because you can't stop. The kitchen is a non-stop. It's a machine. So as much as all the lads wanted to scoop me up and look after me and everything, there's just not that time. So I was just kind of shifted to the corner of the kitchen and everything carried on, which isn't ideal and which isn't what I would want anyone else in my situation to be going through, but it was something that happened. But yeah, I do miss it. I couldn't do it anymore. No way I could stand in the kitchens anymore doing what I did. And especially when it's as hot as it is at the moment, like, I think, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not in them kitchens anymore, because yeah, it's not conducive to somebody with multiple chronic illnesses. But it was that low point that brought me to the decision to apply to uni, which was crazy, and something that if you had told 12, 13-year-old Jodie that they'd be applying to university when they were 29 years old, she'd have gone, don't daft. No, that's not going to happen. But yeah, lots and lots of bad stuff happened. My husband left me as well, so I was in a really like deep dark pit of what am I gonna do now. And yeah, I drunkenly applied to uni, which I can't believe I made the decision to this day, but I did, and I was a little bit like, what am I going to do? I can't cook anymore, so I'm going to teach people how to cook. But to do that in schools now, you need a nutrition degree, which is great. Our kids are getting taught the right stuff. So yeah, I thought I'm going to apply to do a nutrition degree. And I did, and I got accepted. So yeah, I went and did my undergrad degree in nutrition and health. And while I was doing that, I discovered my love of like health psychology and how health impacts the brain, but then the brain impacts health, and all of the chronic illness woven into that as well. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting, which then led to the health sciences masters, which then led to me writing a PhD.
Gosh. Okay, so wow, so yeah, you did experience something unreal. I mean, wow. So yeah, but the one that, well, obviously the thing that's really stood out to me was being in that kitchen and people stepping over you because it can't stop, and having to stop and take a step back. That's unreal. So, do workplaces, aside from obviously kitchens, do they actually cater for people with endometriosis?
No, they don't. There's very few places. It is getting better. It is getting a lot better. The last couple of years, there's been a real drive for more menstrual health policies to be put in place, and stuff like that. But yeah, at the moment, there's not enough places that are even open to the conversation around menstrual health adjustments being put in place. Like, you've got Spain and Argentina now that give leave for people with painful periods. So every month they get a couple of days paid leave, which is amazing. That'll never happen here, or not for a very, very long time. But it's nice to see that there are countries that are taking it that far. It would be nice in workplaces for people not to have to hide the fact that they're on their period. Like, the amount of times you go to the bathroom with a Tampax shoved up your sleeve so that nobody can see it, or stuff like that, when in actual fact 51% of the population menstruates. Why is it a dirty thing? It's not a dirty thing. It's just a monthly process that happens, and some people need a little bit more help with it.
I understand that. So what do you think the barriers are then for it to, be acted on?
stigma. Periods have, for some reason, always been seen as a dirty thing. I think one of the biggest barriers we face at the moment is that men and boys at school aren't taught about menstruation, or not taught properly about menstruation. So when there is sex ed at school or whatever, the girls will go one way and learn about periods, the boys will go the other way and learn about how to put a condom on or whatever. Why are we still separating our kids? That shouldn't be happening. There's also lots of cultural barriers in some cultures. Periods are dirty. There's some cultures that you're not allowed to go and pray in temple while you're menstruating because you're dirty. I was talking to somebody, and once they started menstruation, no matter where they were in their cycle, they weren't allowed to sit on their grandmother's bed, because once they had started menstruating, they were seen as dirty and unclean. There's also the issue around pain with menstruation, because a lot of people don't realise how much pain you should be in, when in actual fact you should only feel discomfort. You should never feel pain with your period. So if you're taking anything more than paracetamol or ibuprofen, then there's an issue. So there's probably more people with endo and adeno or fibroids or PMDD and all of the different menstrual health conditions than we actually realise, because people just aren't coming forwards. And if they are coming forwards, their GP are pushing back against them and going, no, it's normal, when it's not. So yeah, there's the cultural issues, there's the systemic biases, like that periods are just something that should be kept quiet in the corner, when no, 51% of us, come on, there's more of us than you. Let's talk about it. So yeah, my boy probably knows more about uteruses and periods than he does his own penis, which probably isn't a great thing in its own right, but he's already making a fantastic boyfriend because of it. So like, men are going to be boyfriends, they're going to be dads, they're going to be uncles, they're going to be cousins, whatever, of people that menstruate. It's time we normalised it.
Damn. True. Okay, so that's some of the problems there. So cool, you go to university, you study nutrition, health, and you study health. Then, so what are you currently doing in your PhD then? What are you writing about?
So I have looked at health-related quality of life in people with endometriosis, but looked at it specifically in 3 different groups of people. So the first one was in people of different ethnicity. The second one was, this one always gets me the hate, is gender diversity. So gender non-conforming people with endometriosis. Okay. And people in the uniformed services. I think the services are something that's really close to my heart. A lot of my family are in the services. And up until a few years back, people with endometriosis and different chronic health conditions weren't allowed into the army, the navy, the air force. So it was somewhere that I really, really, really wanted to kind of dig into. We didn't have that many people from the military, but we did have lots of police officers, lots of nurses and doctors all get involved in it. And yeah, there's been some enlightening stuff, but also stuff that we already knew. And it's just us going, okay, we now have the proof. Let's do something about it, please.
Wow. Jeez. So that's what you're currently doing there. So you said earlier, we're just going to track off a bit. So you said earlier that you're late diagnosis of ADHD? But how do you see the telltale signs of that? And then we'll come back to endometriosis.
I think with me, it was a lot to do with my internal monologue. I constantly have a person talking, me talking in my head about 150 million different things at the same time. There'll be one person going, this isn't good enough, this isn't good enough, this isn't good enough, and the other one going, you've got this to do, and another one going, la 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 la. And I think that was a lot with me. I had to find out why I had this, because my son was starting to go the same way. He has an internal monologue as well, and I was like, okay, I need, because his was very negative, and so I was like, I need to find out what's going on with me so that I can help him. And I think I'd surrounded myself at that point with people in the community that were very similar to me. And a lot of them were being diagnosed, and I was seeing a lot of myself mirrored in them. So, yeah, I kind of went down a rabbit hole of doing some research, and I was like, this all makes sense. The too many emotions and too much emotion for what is generally accepted in society, and the flipping emotions from high to low and constantly moving and stimming and stuff like that. I can't sit still. Even when I'm working, you'll look at my desk now and there's 3 different screens, because I will have different things on the different screens because I can't stick to one job at once. So I will have 3 different things on the go, just so that I can flip between them, because that is the best way of me working. So yeah, all of that kind of made me go, I am a little bit different. I need to find out what's going on. And yeah, I got my ADHD diagnosis, so autism and ADHD, which was enlightening, and it was also a bit of, okay, this is great because this explains why I've been the way that I've been, but I grieved a lot. I went through a massive grieving period after I got diagnosed, because part of me was like, well, what if somebody had recognised something in me when I was 11 years old? How different would my life have been if I was taken seriously? So yeah, there was a lot of sitting with that and holding myself and looking after my inner child. And I still struggle with it to this day, and there's still more therapy and more stuff to do around it. I don't think it will ever end, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's been a process.
I mean, thank you for opening up on that. So now, going in with autism, ADHD and endometriosis, you run a charity. And that's where I was going with that. You're like, how did you do it? How is it for you?
Because of the ADHD. I started the charity out of a need for myself. So when you get diagnosed with endometriosis, like, I'll go back a little bit. First went to my doctors when I was 11. Heavy, painful periods, and my doctor knew my whole entire family. So he just went, it's what your mum goes through, it's what your nan goes through, it's what your auntie goes through. Your whole entire family just deals with heavy, painful periods. Here's the pill. At 11 years old. And I stayed on some form of back-to-back contraceptives to try and stop my period from happening until I accidentally fell pregnant with my little boy. Which, looking back now, especially because I've had a hysterectomy as well, looking back now, I kind of go, I don't know what it's like to have ever had a natural cycle, which is scary, and it's still what people are going through. And that is one of the scary things for me. So yeah, I went through all of that time, and it wasn't until I finally saw a GP after having Aiden, went and sat down and was like, right, this is happening. And he turned around to me and went, I haven't got a clue. And still to this day, I go, thank you. And he is still my GP because I won't go to anyone else. I say thank you to him because GPs can't know everything about everything. It's impossible. So instead of him blustering and going, oh, it's just normal, or this, and this, he actually took the time to go, I don't know, but let me find you someone that does, and sent me to his wife. And his wife was the first person that ever said the word endometriosis to me. I didn't know anything about it. Now, looking from the perspective and the knowledge that I have now, I can tell you that 90% of my family have it. It's just only one of them's been diagnosed. So yeah, she sent me to a gynaecologist, and this gynaecologist was just a general gynaecologist, and this is why people with suspected endometriosis should not be sent to a general gynaecologist, because after crying on her and being like, my husband's left me, I've got this young son that I can't do anything with because I'm in pain and just bleeding constantly. I think by that point I'd been bleeding for 6 or 7 months straight. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need help. And she looked me dead in the eye and said, just have another baby and you'll be absolutely fine. And I can laugh about it now because it is so removed from everything else. But people are still saying that. We are still getting people coming to us saying that my gynaecologist has told me to get pregnant and it'll cure everything. I'm like, no, it won't. It really, really won't. Luckily my GP was like, no, we're not having that. Sent me to an endometriosis specialist, and I had a 5-minute conversation with him, and he went, yeah, I can pretty much guarantee you have it. So then you have to go through the scans and the tests and all of that. But to be diagnosed with endometriosis, you have to have an operation.
What kind of operation?
You have to have a laparoscopy, so where they put a camera in your abdomen and they look for signs of it and they remove it if they can. They did find endometriosis with me and they removed it. But where I was getting this long-winded story, where I was coming to was you have to have this operation. You come round from this operation and the consultant comes round and either says, yes, you've got it, or no, you don't. Maybe shows you some pictures of what they found, and then they leave. And then you're left with, okay, I've got this big, long, massive word. I've been told not really a lot they can do about it. They've removed it, but we don't know if that'll fix things. And there is literally no support. Your GP doesn't know how to deal with it, really, so puts you back on some form of contraceptive. You can't see the consultant, especially at the moment, because gynae appointments have gone up. The wait list for gynae appointments has gone up 60% since COVID. Because gynaes were the first to be redeployed and the last to go back to their regular jobs because gynae isn't important. So yeah, you just get left with, like I say, this big long massive word with no one knows how to treat it, no one knows what to do. So yeah, that's why I was searching for something or someone to just talk to and be made to feel like I was normal and not going through it all on my own. And yeah, that's what made me start the support groups and then start the charity.
Gosh.
A lot to unpack there, isn't there?
A lot to unpack. One thing, well, many things stood out, but one thing, it seems like when you're going to the doctors and you have you have endometriosis or anything that the doctors aren't familiar with, it's like a lucky dip. It's like a lottery. It's like, you know, if you didn't stumble across your GP, then who knows how long that would have taken to actually discover.
Yeah.
So I don't know, this is kind of just a sort of question out into the universe, but how? I know they're not specialists in everything, but how can a GP not pick that up sooner? What's the issue?
Yeah. This isn't against GPs, but a lot of the time it's ego. A lot of the time it's ego because you can't possibly go to a GP and them not know what's wrong. So a lot of the time they will go, it's normal. It's normal. When it's not normal. And I urge people, if anything comes from this and our conversation, people know their own bodies best. And if anyone feels like there is anything wrong, then to just keep going back. Ask for a different GP. If it's women's health issues, if it's gynae issues, ask to see a women's health specialist because every GP in Portsmouth is supposed to have one. I don't think all of them do, but yeah. And if you feel like you're being fobbed off, put in a complaint. It's not you being like moody and disrespectful and stuff. People need to realise what they're doing wrong so that they can put it right. And a lot of surgeries don't realise just how much gaslighting happens. Yeah, there's so much medical misogyny around like women's health conditions.
Yeah, I guess multiple factors could be the cause, like what we said earlier with the stigma and this and wow. So, okay, then leading on from that, then why don't you think gynaecologists are quite important? They're very important, you know. But why aren't they? You said they were the first to go, the last to come back. They're not in every GP. Why?
One, there's not enough of them, to be honest. I think that the amount of medical students that actually want to train in gynaecology now is declining. In medical school, you're not actually taught a lot on women's health. You maybe have 1 or 2 lectures, which is what we're trying to get changed at the moment. There's a few people campaigning on that. There's so many issues. There's not enough room. There's not enough space at some hospitals for gynaes to be there all the time. We have a endometriosis specialist nurse who works out of a cupboard. And she only gets, I think it's 10 hours a week.
Wow.
Now, considering endometriosis affects 1 in 10 people assigned female at birth, statistically, there's roughly around 13,000 people in Portsmouth alone that have endometriosis. We are very lucky that QA is an endometriosis specialist centre. But even still, we have consultants that don't have access to scanning equipment that they need. We have consultants that don't even have a consultancy room. We have the surgeons get 1 day a week in surgery. So for 13,000 people, it's not enough. It is not enough, and the wait list is just going to continue rising because there's no chance of ever getting back that time. And that's why, instead of people being referred to the endometriosis specialist gynecologists, they're getting sent to regular gynecologists who aren't trained in endometriosis properly, and then are gaslighting people within the hospital setting as well. So it's just, I don't see a way out of it at the moment, and that's why we exist.
Yeah. Jeez. So how big is the Endometriosis South group?
So we have a following of around 5,000 now. We have a Portsmouth specific Facebook group that has 1,100 people in it. So yeah, it's pretty massive. It's pretty massive. If you had said to me 6 years ago that this is where we'd be at, I would have gone, nah. We'll just have our little group still. But no, it's grown immensely. And every time we do like something in the news or with Portsmouth City Council or something like that, then it grows more.
That makes sense. So you said the only way to discover if you have endometriosis is it a laparoscopy?
Laparoscopy.
Laparoscopy. Yep. Is that the only way, and can there be another?
So there's different urine tests and blood tests that are being sampled at the moment. The issue is nobody knows why endo happens. So we haven't discovered a specific biomarker or anything like that, which is crazy since it's been around since 1860. It was first diagnosed in 1860. There's talks about it in like the Hippocrates texts and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and stuff like that. Mentions the wandering womb, where they thought endometriosis happened because the womb left where it's supposed to be and moved around the body. It's all a bit crazy what they thought back then. But yeah, we don't know. There's no specific biomarker. There's talk about the different stages of endometriosis being completely different diseases from each other now, which is even more insane. It can be diagnosed. So deeply infiltrating endometriosis and endometriomas can be diagnosed through ultrasound if you have the right equipment and if you have the right consultant doing the scan. So it's not very often you're going to get that. We have a very specialist sonographer up at QA. She's fantastic, but it's not very often she gets access to the right equipment at the right time. And MRI scans are really good for people with endo. But again, it's got to be endometriomas or deeply infiltrating endometriosis. It won't pick up stage 1 or stage 2 endometriosis. And it's generally the people with stage 1 and stage 2 that are being gaslit the most, because they don't have organs that are stuck together, but they do have what's thought to be more systemic issues. So I have stage 1, and it's sometimes called mild or superficial endometriosis, which those words in themselves make you gaslight yourself, because you're like, oh, I'm not as bad as stage 4, or I'm not as bad as somebody that has endo on their bowel that's like massively infiltrated and has to have a bowel resection and stuff like that. But we have more inflammatory symptoms around it. There's more brain fog, there's more fatigue, that we have all of the systemic stuff and nerve issues and nerve pain and all of them sorts of things. So yeah, it's a massive answer to no. Realistically, unless it's really, really bad, there is no other way of diagnosing it.
So you mentioned there the different stages, stage
Yes.
1. So what are the different stages?
So there's stage 1, which is superficial or mild endometriosis, and it's where you'll normally find small little lesions that grow normally in the pelvic cavity, or on the peritoneal lining, so anywhere like around here. Then there's stage 2, which are endometriomas, which are sometimes called chocolate cysts, and that's because of the way they look. It's because endometriosis infiltrates the ovary, and it will the cyst will grow every month and fill with endometriosis, which is old blood. So if it's cut open, it looks like melted chocolate, which aren't great. And if they burst, they can spread endometriosis through the pelvic cavity as well. Stage 3 is deeply infiltrating endometriosis. So that's anything where those little lesions that I talked about before for the stage 1, where they infiltrate where they are by more than 5 millimeters. Now they can end up anywhere on any organ. People have even been found with it behind their knee. It's crazy. And that generally happens on the bowel, on the intestines, or kidneys, bladder, again, anywhere in that pelvic cavity. And then you've got extra pelvic endometriosis. So that's anywhere else on the body. The most common site of that is the lungs. So people have lung collapses when they're on their period. It can be coughing up blood. We not too long ago lost someone on the Isle of Wight because they had had over 60 catamenial pneumothoraxes, so collapsed lungs, and the last one was just so extensive that they unfortunately lost their lives. So when people say endometriosis isn't that important, it doesn't kill people, well, yes it does. And there's a lot of people that take their own lives with endometriosis because there's no end to it. There's no cure. There's no, okay, I'm going to be better after this has happened. And as awful as it sounds, endometriosis is called a benign gynecological disorder. I've had a lot of people turn around to me and say that they wish that it had been cancer that had been found, because then at least there'd be an end to it. There would be treatment, there would be chemotherapy, there would be operations, and then there would be an end to it. But there is no end to this. It's a constant battle with the medical professionals to get treatment, to get help. It's just one battle after another.
So that is a breakdown of the different stages. Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned the telltale signs, you mentioned the symptoms. You've even said to the people, get it checked, you know, don't be gaslit. I appreciate that. So, with the group, with the endo group, what do you envision for the future?
There's so many things. So many things. It's a really exciting point with the charity at the moment, because I am not going to be doing so much with the groups. I'm kind of stepping away from that now, putting some really, really, really amazing people in charge of that part of things. But I'm going to be kind of going more down the research route now, which I'm really excited about. I know some people will be really sad about, but I need someone to bring some fresh life into that side of things so that everybody's getting the help that they need. So there's going to be more groups opening in more places, because I've only had the capacity myself to have the Fratton group once a month. There's going to be a Haven't group. There's going to be a Porchester and a Gosport group, which is amazing and fantastic, and I can't wait for it all to happen. But yeah, I am going to be scooting off down the research part of things.
Wow, so you're going to be researching, and that would be amazing. You'll be leading the research on that. That'd be good to see. So, exciting times.
Yeah, really exciting times.
Nice. Well, Jodie, that brings us to a lovely close on this part.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing actually sitting here with you, and thank you for opening up and being vulnerable with me. It takes a lot, you know. But cool, we can put a pin in it there.
Yeah.
And we'll crack on with part 2. And we'll see what you've got to say there.
Perfect.
Alright, thanks Jodie.
Thank you.
Oh, Jodie, welcome to part 2.
Thank you.
So, part 2, then we go out into the street and we ask a question. Mm-hmm. You don't know what the question is yet. So, we're about to find out. Now, in here, feel free to react, feel free to pause it, stop, whatever you feel. We can watch it till the end, whatever you feel. So, without further ado, let's crack on with part 2. Do you know what endometriosis is?
I know of it as a medical term. I would say it's probably something to do with the either esophagus or the intestines, but I couldn't answer it realistically.
Do you know what endometriosis is?
Yeah.
you want to expand?
I think it's when you have. Yeah, good question. It's when you have something in the uterus, like maybe like cysts or very thick.
The size is like enlarged or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How's that related to art
With
galleries?
other, with
Is there
other.
Two separate questions.
Two separate.
I thought there was an art gallery about endometriosis.
Do you know what endometriosis is? Mm-hmm. Do you want to expand?
No, endometriosis. It's like I know what it is. I've heard of it. Can I explain it?
You can go try. You can try to.
It sounds like something.
Ovaries. Yeah, it's like it's a female issue.
It is.
Ovaries related?
Do you know what endometriosis is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Can you expand?
It's whenever, like, if I remember correctly, it's whenever, like, there's, like, your uterus is like, lads, we're going to grow more. And then it just becomes, like, really uncomfortable and you get really bad periods, basically. I have, like, really bad periods. And they were like, yeah, we could check if it's endometriosis, but then you'd have to, like, have a surgery and they don't see that as necessary, so they just put you on birth control. And that's like the treatment for bad periods and endometriosis is the same unless you're like literally like dying from it, which is like it's literally like causing. It's only a problem if it stops you from getting pregnant. That's what they say. It's like it's fine. Like they won't deal with it surgically or like properly until it's literally like causing your infertility. 'Cause that's all women are, is baby factories apparently. So it's really annoying. I had a friend who was having really like they only allowed her to get rid of, so she only got rid of her uterus because they were like, well, what if you want kids in the future? And she's like, I've already had like 2 kids. I need it, which is, yeah, so.
So.
How many people did you talk to?
It must have been. Oh, we spoke to those, and then there were a few others that basically piled us off, and then yeah. So these gave us the best answers. So, what are your thoughts?
It's about right. There's quite a few people that have heard of endo now. Not many people know what it is. Not one of them gave the correct answer. Which is what we're trying to do, but it's not that easy. And I'm just not surprised at all. That final person was just like, yeah, that's what every single person with endo goes through, is that fight of A, getting believed and then getting the treatment or the surgery. And yeah, and if you want a hysterectomy, you have to make sure that you've had the children that you wanted. Even if people don't want kids, they're told that they can't have a hysterectomy too early because they might change their mind. So yeah, it's almost as well. We know women don't have autonomy over their own bodies.
Wow. Gosh. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
There's no other word for it. But she said that, and you said earlier that they don't do it unless it's critical.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of pushback over the last couple of years, and I think it's in response to the heightened wait times and stuff. But there's been a lot of pushback of if stage 1 endometriosis or the superficial endometriosis is suspected over deeply infiltrating endometriosis. There's an argument to not going in and giving the surgery because they feel like they're going to do more damage than they would good by removing it. My argument is endometriosis is a progressive disease. So if you have stage 1 endometriosis and it's not removed, it is going to progress into stage 2, stage 3 and deeply infiltrating endometriosis. So, yeah.
Wow. Gosh. Any final words? Or any other thoughts? Let's say.
It's just let's get the idea that endometriosis is a female specific condition of the uterus, because it's not. There's men that have endometriosis. There's non-binary people that have endometriosis. There's every single gender can have endometriosis, and it is not a reproductive disorder. It is a systemic condition that affects the reproductive system.
Wow.
I feel like I've made you speechless a couple of times.
Yeah, because it's quite shocking. For something that you'd expect, well, I would expect that would be covered by, medical professionals and understood and researched, because you say 51% of the population experience it, you'd expect that to be on quite a high priority list of things to be able to diagnose. It shocks me that, medical professionals haven't taken that as a sign or even just serious.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you say it might not happen. I remember you said earlier, like, it won't happen, or it won't change soon. It won't change, like, now, but how quick or how soon is now? When will it change, when?
It's going to be decades.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be decades. With the NHS the way that it is, it will be decades. We have so many people that are putting themselves in debt, that are remortgaging, whose parents are giving life savings to them to be able to go and have operations privately, just to get a diagnosis, just to get some treatment, just to try and get a bit of normality and stability in their lives. And that's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not.
No.
It's really not fair. Well, in hope of a fairer society. And I guess, it's down to decades for everything to be sorted.
Education needs to be sorted. There needs to be the right, correct education at every single touch point. So at schools, in colleges, in medical school there should be training on it. 10% of the female population potentially could have endometriosis. That's a massive amount. That's as many people as diabetes. That's as many people as asthma. Everyone knows what they are. But nobody can give the correct definition of endometriosis, which is just... It still blows my mind that we have them statistics, but we still don't have the teaching behind it.
Yeah. I mean, if it is a stigma, people just need to grow up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because it involves a bit of blood that's coming... If someone cut their arm and bled from their arm once a month, it wouldn't be an issue. It'd be, okay, let's deal with that because that's a problem. But because it is coming from somewhere that is uniquely female, then somehow that makes it weird or dirty or something that we shouldn't talk about.
Well, yeah, the answer to it is education.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said earlier as well that they still divide male, boys and girls, male and female, into two separate classrooms.
Yeah. What is that achieving? What is that actually achieving? Like, one, the girls need to know as much as the boys how to put a condom on. And two, the boys are going to have some form of interaction of somebody with a period at any given point of their lives. Even if it's not their mother because of something that's happened, then it could be their sister, their cousin, like I said, their sister, their cousin, an employee at work. Until we have that ground level education, nothing along the line is going to change. Because they might have employees, or they might be an employee of somebody that has painful, heavy periods. They might be the person that goes, have you ever thought that it could be? Like, because I have had someone in one of our support groups, and it wasn't until they'd got with their now husband, and it was them that mentioned it to them, that this isn't actually normal. And they'd been told their whole lives that what they were going through was normal, and they were the ones that went, no, what you're going through is not normal. So yeah, we need everybody to know about these things, not just the people that are going through it.
Yeah, let's hope that things will change with more time.
We can pray.
We can pray and carry on campaigning, you know.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Well, Jodie, that brings us to a lovely close.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've taught me a lot today, and I know people that do experience endometriosis and have had late diagnosis of it, and have experienced it their whole life, and have been pushed aside, and now they've got a diagnosis. But yeah, it's close to my heart, I guess, and it was good to sit with you and hear obviously your story and how you've overcome it, and now leading the sort of charge on getting, you know, people more aware of it.
I won't shut up about it.
don't, you know. And yeah, no, but it's been great today, and I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we can help out in any way. So
100%.
all right, well,